Hey guys, I'm Aaron, and today we're going to take a look at scaling inside versus outside of a component. So I know, like, to some people, this probably seems pretty basic, and we've talked about components, but I want to look at some specific examples where you may want to scale inside versus outside of components. There's not a one size fits all, like when you scale a component, always do it this way. There's cases where you might want to do it inside, and there's cases where you're going to want to scale the outside, and we're going to look at what those are right now. Okay, so here I got a model. This model I grabbed off of Warehouse, and you can see it is a car, and you can see it's kind of small. It is a component. Let's explore this model real quick. Let's explore this car a little bit before we dive into scaling. So you can see it is a component. So that means if I make a copy of it and then enter the component, make changes, those changes will ripple through all copies. That is good. That's what we want out of a component. I'm going to double click in here, and if I click on it when I'm inside the component, you see that half the car is in another component. This is a common modeling practice. This is a good thing to do. This is a symmetrical item. It's the same on both sides. So modeling half the car means that I can create a component, flip it, and then just model half of it, and it'll automatically show up on the other side. That's a good way to do it. If I double click into that and see that I have now a whole bunch of components. You see all these, as I click through them, they are all labeled as components. That's great because, like I said, most of them do, or a lot of them do, well, they repeat on the other side, but yeah, there you go. All right, so that's what we got from all. That's what we're working with. I'm gonna click a couple times to exit all the way out of here. And let's talk about scaling specifically. So right now, this looks like a toy car. I mean, it's a big toy, but it is a toy car. It's too small. Sumelli could never fit in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this, and I'm going to Option copy, Control on Windows, one copy here. Now, if I wanted to take this and I wanted to make one instance, this specific instance over here, we have car 1, car 2, they're both linked by components, but they are separate instances. If I was to scale right now, grab the outside and just scale this up, that is scaling a container. So see my original car is the same size. This car is bigger. This is scaled. When you scale a component on the outside, you are scaling the container of that instance. So that means that this copy got bigger, but the changes made were on the outside of the wrapper, not to the geometry on the inside. Make sense? Let's hope so. Okay, let's dive in and see when and where you might want to change inside of a component. So if I click in, let's go in here again. So again, you can see my two copies of my components. As I work on one, the other one lights up. So if I look at this half and I come in and let's say I want to change the size of my tires. I know this is, I'm going to be doing some arbitrary modeling out here, guys. So car guys, relax. I don't know what I'm doing. It's just geometry to me. So in here, let's say I take this component right here, I hit scale, and then I just scale about the middle to make it bigger. See what's happening right now? This one got bigger, so did the one on the other side, but these two in back didn't change size. Why is that? Because what I'm actually scaling is the component, the component wrapper of this one tire. Why is it moving over here? Because this tire is part of a bigger component that is this half of the car. So I just changed a wrapper here that is copied inside two components, so they both upgraded, or updated. Well, I mean, hey, it is a bigger tire, so it's probably more expensive, so you could consider it an upgrade. All right, I'm going to Command Z to get that back smaller. So what would happen if I wanted all 4 tires to change? Well, what I would do in that case is I would, double click to enter this half of the car, select my tire component, and then click into the component. So now what I'm changing is the geometry that's actually inside this component. So if I grab all of this and I scale, and I'm going to scale about the middle and make it bigger, look what happens. Not just the halves, but every instance everywhere of that tire changes. In fact, let me take this a step further. What I could do is I could actually grab this tire, Command C to copy it, exit all the way out, Command V to paste it, and I could go into this right here, and I could work on this copy over here, start scaling, and just make that thing the size I want it to be. I could be very precise. Obviously, I'm just putting in numbers right now. I could put in the exact geometry that I want, and any place this tire is used, anywhere in the entire model, it's going to get bigger. See that? So obviously there's some issues here. This is a little, this is a little bit big. It's cutting into my fender. If I really wanted this big tire in here, obviously I'd have to make some changes, which I could do one of two ways. I could come in here and I could grab these tires and I could move them inside the model. That works. See that? So that got them to, obviously, like I said, you know, we're just playing with geometry right now. I could do something like that if I wanted to get them out of the way, or playing with our components a little bit more, I could go into this one, inside the component, select the geometry, hit move, and move it vertically, and look what happens. All the installed instances of this tire change, and I realize I'm saying tire, this is probably should be called a wheel and a tire, but that all changes together as I change the contents of that single component. So in moving that one piece, all 8 instances updated and moved down inside of their component. So there you go. Just something to think about when you start dealing with components. There is a big difference between modifying what's inside a component versus modifying the component container itself. This wasn't actually something that you guys asked for. I got to admit that. But it is something that came up several times. I've seen this in a couple of live models myself and Tyson have done. And I saw this come up on a couple of forum things where people were going, well, you know, why did I change this? This one changed, this one didn't. One of the things that can cause issues, just as a final reminder on our way out, is keep an eye on nested components. When you go component side of component side of component side of a component, each level has its own link to copies of that. So as you make more copies and put them in additional components, you may end up with this chain where you change something and unexpectedly get scaling happening in different parts of the model. So just be conscious of it. It's not a bad thing. Nesting components is a great thing. It's a smart thing to do. It saves you work. Cut the modeling time on this car in half. But you do have to be conscious as you make edits, what's going to change based on what level it's in. But there's something to think about, scaling inside versus outside components. Did you like that video? If so, go ahead and click like down below. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. We create several videos each and every week, and you'll be notified of all of them if you subscribe. Most importantly, though, please leave us a comment. A lot of our content nowadays is coming based on comments from viewers like you. We like making these videos. We like them even more when they're showing something you want to see. Thank you.